So let's bounce. Let me stop.
No, okay, don't let me no good time. I'm already good. This is the season of enjoyment. This is the season of excellence for my life. To do this in excellence means that I cannot give my time, energy, and effort to those who are not equally yoked.
How do I get tapped in like that with God?
Ego death.
Oh.
Ego death. That's actually pretty lit.
It's all necessary.
With Tifani Sage. Let's. Oh, you know what? Let me stop. I thought I was bouncing, and this thing's about to fall on my head top.
If that's the way that we start in the podcast, that's actually pretty lit. Like,
Okay.
let's
bounce.
fall.
Ready?
There you
1, 2. Let me stop.
No, Jose, don't threaten me with no good time. I'm gonna really do it.
Fire is gonna start. Oh my gosh, guys! Thank you so much for coming again to another episode of It's All Necessary with me. Exactly. That's exactly the horns I'm going to put on there.
Fire.
You know, the usual: like, subscribe, leave your feedback, your comments. I want to hear from you. And just as a reminder, this is a space where we're reminded that everything that we go through in life, whether big or small, is only to prepare and to propel our growth. So let's get this motherfucking thing started. Today, my special guest is none other than
BP Edwards, the bear, the goat, whatever you want to call
the
it.
captain of Bear Vision,
the one
an
and only
icon in the making.
Come on.
And I feel I just met you, but like I said before, I feel like I've met you before, and you have a really good soul.
Hey, spiritual purpose is always in alignment, so we ain't never got to worry about
Let's
that.
go.
We ain't never got to worry about that.
BP is, as I said, the captain of Bear Vision. He's a cinematographer, producer, director, and filmmaker.
All the things.
How the heck do you do all the things?
God, for real. I have been given everything through God's hands, and there's no other way to call that. There's no other way to slice that. I have literally have everything that I have because of the people that are in my surrounding circles and my belief. So, it's all God given. It ain't me.
Oh my gosh. This is totally like off script and organic, but as far as when you're hearing from God, I know the tattoo, like that's one of the meanings of it. When you are hearing from God, or I guess, hearing from him, what are some ways that like, oh, that's God talking to you?
Sometimes you can feel it. And it's like when you're connected to a higher plane, you'll know it's discernment. Every time you'll look at yourself in the mirror, you'll look at a situation, you'll look at the people around you, and you'll know. And when you ask for things, you have to be prepared to receive those things, whether you're prepared or not. So you ask God for a sign and then be like, oh, well, that's not the sign I was necessarily looking for. And like, nah, bro, the sign was there. So every time that I have the opportunity to listen, I'll truly detach myself and really listen to what's there for me. And God speaks. And you just feel it. You just know.
What if, because there was something that I'll just share it. So I was on the phone with my mom today, and a thing that I've been not working on, but I guess relearning and implementing is proper time management.
Okay.
And I realize in this particular phase of my life, it's crazy busy, and I'm very grateful, but I had to remind myself that as much as I'm busying myself with things I'm very passionate about, I also too need to leave time or make time for, like my loved ones.
Sure.
And so as I was on the phone with her, I won't say what the omen was, but a sign came and I was like, oh, thank you, God. And I felt like it was like a nice way to show me like, yes, you're on the right path. Like, don't be so concerned with, your plan. I have other things to show you.
Right.
If you want to share, what are some, what's it called? Oh, what is it? I'll say what it was. So I saw a hummingbird.
Okay.
And that sign is very meaningful to me. One, it being the national bird of my home country, Jamaica. Are there any signs for you?
Sure.
That
when I was filming my first feature-length film, I saw an actual bear. There was a bear out in the forest. We were filming in the forest, and a bear literally walked right up and through our set.
Ooh.
And we had In-N-Out out there, so the bear was like about to eat the food
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But other people were intimidated and scared, but I was just like, wow, like I am really in here cooking. This is the spot that I'm supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And it's not always that extreme. Sometimes it's small things. Like I'll ask, you know, if this is supposed to be for me, give me a sign. And sometimes that sign will be a text message. Sometimes that sign is a phone call. Sometimes that sign is an advertisement because, you know, feds be listening on the little Facebook advertisements and stuff like that. But sometimes, you know, it's right what I needed to hear in the moments that I needed to hear it. And sometimes I like to think that, you know, when you tapped in with the higher being, when you're tapped in with the architect of the universe, that you're not really looking at it as existential, needing a physical sign. Sometimes you'll just know just by asking and just by being in the situations that the discernment piece just comes immediately after that. And you just separate the need to see a physical, tangible, whatever, and you just know that you're walking in that faith that everything is going to work the way that you've asked for it to because you're already walking in your purpose.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when I was saying the hummingbird story in my head, I was like, what the freak was, I mean, you can curse on here, but I was like thinking, what the heck was my question? But I remember now.
Damn.
Right.
Let's get it out the way. Let's get it out the way. Yeah,
Have you ever forgotten what you asked God for?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. So it's. Okay.
Absolutely not. I say the same prayer every day. I ask God to bless my health, wealth, and unions every day. Every meal, 3 times a day, multiple times a day. I know what the mission is. I know why I'm here. I know what I got to do. I know who I got to do it with. Even if I ain't met them yet, I know who I know who they are. I feel them.
Yeah.
I see them before I see them. Like I dream them before I meet them. And all the way
tapped in.
All of those things are just higher calling purpose.
Yeah.
So I never forget what I ask God for because it's already within my possession.
Yeah.
You know, and when you utilize those words of affirmation for yourself, like saying like I'm working on things like time management and making time for my family, and it's like those things are already within you.
Yeah.
So when you exercise those things regularly and you ask God to continue to give you those things regularly, that's when the ease of it comes out.
Yeah.
And you never really forget when it's something that's easy. But when it's hard, you also have to remember that it's still easy. You know, it's never anything more difficult than what you can handle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This feels like church. I needed this.
Come on.
Also too, for anyone watching or listening, someone asking, dang, BP, how do I get tapped in like that with God? What would you tell them?
Ego death.
Oh.
Ego death. You have to literally lose yourself to find that true tap in that you're looking for. And I remember what it was like for me experiencing ego death. And I'm sure that if you've experienced it or anybody that's listening to this has experienced ego death, you know exactly what it feels like to lose that sense of yourself that I know my identity. I know what I'm supposed to have.
Yeah.
And God be like, wrong. Wrong.
Yeah.
So when you truly come out of that space, like you hit a new low at ego death. And you have to ask a new question because everything that you had been asking up until that point is something that your old self needed in order to justify the decisions that you were making at that point in your life. So as you step into that new form of self with ego death, you start realizing very firsthand that if I want to be successful, if I want to be this person, if I want to be the cinematographer, the director, the filmmaker, the producer, the et cetera, I have to let go of whatever I think my life is supposed to look like tap into what I know that God has for me.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like, just know it's in the plan. Your plan doesn't matter.
That scripture, for I know the plans that I have for you. And it's not like, I always remind myself of that because it's like, you know, I'm not going to say we, I'll say me. When I'm just like, God, I know you've been doing this for a while, but like, are you sure you know what you're doing for me though? And it's like I'm always reminded, like, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And even just, I will honestly say with this platform that I've created, because I'm a singer-songwriter and no one could tell me different, that it's like, oh yeah, Tifani Sage, top songwriter, And it's like, I'm still on that journey, but I would be lying if I didn't say that doing this feels a lot much more fulfilling.
Sure.
And it just, blossomed out of nowhere. Even like connecting with you and like you being able to be like, yo, let's do it. It's like, what the hell? Like I've wanted that kind of ease in the songwriting world for so long that now I'm looking back at it and it's like, why didn't I just try to pivot and do something else? But
because you didn't believe it was for you all the way up until it was. Until it became blatantly clear that it was for you.
Yeah.
There was always a reservation. There was always a doubt. And it's okay to have doubt. I think that people think that, you ever heard it's like, what's the phrase? It is not the fear that we're inadequate, but it's the fear that we're powerful beyond measure.
Yeah.
It's not our light, but our darkness. Yeah. It's not our darkness, but our light, or not our light, but our darkness. But it's the stuff that we feel like we can be that truly scares us from being the person that we're supposed to be. So it's not our light, but our darkness that most scares us. Because if we were to really tap into who we're supposed to be, and if you were to take off all the foo, you heard that Kendrick Lamar take off the foo-foo. Like, if you take everything off and you look at who you want to be in life, God will put you on that path. And if you can walk that, and you can walk that with uncertainty, and you can walk that with fear, if you can walk that with just trust and knowing that it's all going to work out, you're going to hit that because it's already within you. And if you believe it, it'll happen. If you don't believe it, you'll always be in the same place over and over again. So that place that you were in, you were already supposed to be the singer-songwriter that you already see yourself as, the podcaster that you already supposed to. You're already those things. So don't think so much about why things aren't happening by the time frame or the standards that you would like it to have, because when God wants you to have it, it's going to be there. It's going to be.
Well, that was a hell of an icebreaker. Jesus. Okay, so let's get into this. Let's start with childhood. Where are you from, and what was your fondest childhood memory?
Pasadena, born and raised. And, my fondest memories of being a child was walking to school with my parents. We used to live right around the corner. My mom used to tell me good, better, best, never let it rest until your good gets better and your better gets best. And we used to walk to school doing that. And my dad used to tell me, like, who are we? We're the Poundmores. Who are we? We're great. We can achieve anything. And like those things make you realize just how valuable it is to have people in your corner, parents in your corner, family. I have a brother, and my brother was the first person to ever be in my corner behind being a full-time filmmaker, cinematographer, all those things. So it's really my fondest memories are just memories of like when things were simple. Yeah. And things get complex. Things change. You get older. You learn things. You learn that your parents aren't superheroes. You learn that your family members are not always the people that you think that they are, and you learn things every day. So, my fondest memories is remembering them as the heroes in my life, and wanting those feelings to always be is something that you always got to keep on holding on to as an adult. Yeah,
I was gonna say my next question: who were your role models when you were young? I guess in addition to your parents, and if it's solely your parents, what about them individually that you were like, I love this about them?
Sure. My role models have always been, people that were close to me, but I never really had like a figure that I looked at that was outside of family that was like, oh my God, I love this person. Like I used to watch the Huxtables, like Bill Cosby and stuff like that. And then you learn about what Bill Cosby was on and be like, I can't model yourself after that guy. Yeah. So it's just like, you try to make heroes and icons out of those that you see. But, the biggest thing that I've had as far as like who I want to be like is me.
I was going to say, yeah.
Me. I've been able to look at me in different stages of my life and knowing what I was able to walk into, walk away from, be able to make decisions about and continue to make good decisions for. And now having my own, tribe, my own group, my own significant others, and, my own little pup. You feel me? Yeah. Like, got to make decisions for people now. And that's a beautiful thing. So I think, I've always looked at myself as my biggest inspiration because I want to make myself proud.
Wow. I can't even think of like any directors right now, but let's just say I feel like you will be in the director world, the Denzel Washington of the directors of the world.
Love a good Denzel. Love a good training day.
Affirmations.
Yeah, there you go.
It's happening.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like, I think as far as career, like goals, like people that I look at and be like, wow, they have great careers.
Yeah.
Wow, they have great people around them. You know, I think about the Denise Davises, the Talitha Watkins, the Jamari Perrys, the Issa Raes, the people that I'm now able to call mentors in my life, in my career, because they have done something inspirational. The women, it's the women, the black women specifically, 2 times for the black women, because they are living in the purpose. They are living in the purpose. They are finding the camaraderie amongst one another. And the thing that we don't do as a people consistently is make sure that we check in on each other and being good people to one another and making those things happen for one another as far as community is concerned. And shoot, even my girl, like even like having somebody that I can rely on, having somebody that regardless of the odds, ends, and particulars of having a good day or bad day, the thing that you can rely on is having a solid person at your back all times, gonna protect you, gonna make sure that you make good decisions for yourself, even when you're not capable of making the best decisions. Even sometimes when you don't agree that that's the best decision, it typically is. And having that community around me, so India Walton, bam. India Walton, bam.
Take a bow.
Yep. My girl in the studio right now.
Okay. So and this is not a man bashing thing, but you said the women got it on lock. What do you think is going on with the men where you feel as a male, you can be like, yo, we could do better at blah, 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 blah.
So I won't, and I say that with a grain of salt though, because when I tell you that I got some good brothers around me, and it took a while for me to find those people, and I had to climb a mountain and ask God directly, I need community. I would love to have those people around me, and I was delivered people like Jalen Blott, like Sean Bartley, like Nico, my boy Nico, Nick Wiggins. He go by multiple aliases, but that's my man's. Antrell Terry, Richard Obasi, like these are all people that have shown me themselves in their rawest forms, and I've been able to meet them at a level and been able to communicate with them in ways that allowed for them to be the best selves that they can be, and then they also in turn pour into me and allow for me to be a better person. So like even my brother, Bruce Palmore, Wolf, he is someone that regardless of if we disagree or not, always has my best interest at heart. And having that circle of good brothers around you makes all the difference in the world. Now, I will also say that without getting too deep into it, that we as black men do have a better responsibility to one another. We need to be able to step up when it comes to how we interact with one another, how we exchange ideas with one another, how we continue to develop and foster relationships, how we talk about mental health, how we talk about God. We got to be able to talk about those things, because if we as a community are not doing it for ourselves, no one will do that for us. No one's going to do that for us.
I feel like that's like across the border. One thing I want to point out that I hear you saying, which is so pivotal, I feel that tightens your alignment, is that you're asking God. You're
absolutely
asking for it, as opposed to, I'm trying to think of, obviously the opposite of that is not asking, but shout out to your awareness of knowing what it is you feel you need, and then you having that like, oh, I need to ask for this, because I realize there is not like a lack, but there's a void that could be filled and like better you.
And that void is because of uncertainty and disbelief and not feeling like you're aligned with your purpose. Like all of those things are things that coexist with one another. Those ideas coexist. So language is the most important tool in achieving the life that you want to live. Being able to speak those things into the universe, speak those opportunities into the universe, speak your position on life into the universe, and speak it to God. And I guarantee you that it's going to pour back into you tenfold. Wow. If you continue to speak clearly, and it's not to say, oh, I might be, one day I will be, one day, like this is not a one day life, because one day your life is going to end. This is not a one day life. So if you are inviting uncertainty into your language, then it's no wonder that you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve in this world. Like I come from no film background. I didn't go to film school. And I one day decided that my photography career was going to advance. Mm-hmm. And when I took that opportunity on myself, when I decided for myself that this was something that I wanted to do, this is something that I wanted to accomplish. And then when I asked for, I want a community that's allowing me to build, I met people like Rex. And I've known Rex my whole life. I've known him since 8th grade. And we reconnected after I went up a mountain and asked God to find community for me. I reconnected with Rex. And he was one of the first people outside of my immediate family that told me, Elro, you can do whatever you want with this world as long as you're connected to a higher power.
Shout out to Rex Wonders.
Shout out my boy, Rex Wonders. He's my favorite rapper. He's my favorite rapper.
He's so magical.
He's my favorite rapper. He's one of my favorite humans. Like, I don't get to express my gratitude for somebody like that, and those people that are in my life, those men that are in my life that allow for me to be the best me that I can be, the best bear, the best BPOers that I can be, and he is one of those people. So I got to shout out my boy.
Love that. Let's see. Oh, what are some similarities and differences of your personality from when you were a teenager to present day?
Man.
Let's start with similarities.
Similarities. I've always been confident in my ability to communicate.
Where did that stem from?
I didn't have that option growing up in the house that I grew up in. If I wanted something, I had to make it plain. I had to say it. I had to be able to believe it. I had to be able to say it out loud and achieve the things that I was saying. Like, we didn't have the option of being sometimey with our language, especially as a man. And I think that just translated into being a stronger leader. And of course you have, obstacles that you have to overcome. So like, there was the difference between who I am now and who I was back then is that I don't care what anybody has to say at the end of the day. If I'm the leader of this ship and I say that we got to rock it in the way that we rocking it,
we gonna rock it.
We got to rock it the way we gonna rock it now. And if I'm not the captain of the ship, I'm a team player. So if you have an objective that you're trying to achieve, it's my job to make sure that objective gets achieved. It's not my job to trample on whatever the leadership structure is.
Random question.
Sure.
Outside of when I'm just trying to think of a quick example, but say outside of work, and it's you and a group of people, are you the one to be like, okay, so what we doing? Who's doing what? Like, not saying you immediately jump into the leader role, but do you kind of like to get a firm understanding of who's playing what part? And I ask this only because I remember when I was doing a photo shoot and I felt like I had a vision of how I wanted to be photographed, but the photographer had their own vision. And it's like, with you saying that, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have made it clear, like, hey, I'm the captain in this moment, and you follow. So
right. So I think I like to start as an observer. Okay. I like to see what everybody's dynamic is as I'm walking into a room. You can never go into a room and just start demanding space.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm the guy in here. Everybody need to listen to me. Like, respect is oftentimes expected, but you also have to give to get. And I give everybody the same respect until you give me a reason not to give you that respect. Right. So whenever I come into an opportunity to be in a group of people, I like to think of myself as an observer, like to see where the energy is, see what everybody's doing, see what everybody's thought processes are. But I also want to make sure that there's constructive dialogue. I am very much so pointed towards an objective. I'm not one to argue. I'm not one to get into the weeds. I'm also someone that doesn't believe that everything has to be agreed upon.
Right.
So
that's
important. Like agree to disagree type situation. Like, if you think that something is supposed to go and you're in the leadership position, you can have it. Yeah. I'm not about to go through with the odds and obstacles of trying to get somebody to understand my point of view if it's not the time for that point of view to be exercised, right? So I like to think about it kind of like how film production works. You have pre-production, production, and post. Whatever you do in production gets done in pre. Whatever conversations need to happen about, I think that this should be like this. That is the time for collaborative dialogue. When we get on set, we already have a game plan. Let's not audible. Let's not fix it. Let's not try to figure out what we're doing. It's not a Bible. It's not strict. We have to abide by these core tenets, and that's it. But we have to stick to a game plan if we're going to get what we're supposed to get out of here, because we're playing with other people's money. Yeah. So once we get to post, all the things that we decided to do in pre-production and the things that we did on production days is the stuff that we're going to get out of post-production. So now you just got to find the right people to put it all together. But it kind of to the original point here is that I want to make sure that we get to the finish line. I don't want to get into the semantics of figuring out, oh, well, if you like this idea, then let's really try to dig deeper. Like, and you know, it's not always about digging deeper. Sometimes it's about doing what's right there on the surface and moving forward.
I love that. I feel like, how could you argue with this guy? Like, you know what the hell you doing? Like, whatever you say, jump 5 times. Okay, I'm jumping. Oh, let me not, because this. Whatever.
We got to save the studio. Shout out the studio.
What differences from your youth till now?
I got a beard.
Yourself? I
got a beard.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, I was raised to believe that you get a job, you go to school, you work for 40 years, you retire, and then you try to enjoy the remaining years of your life. And the difference between who I was back then and who I am now is that I'm enjoying my life right now.
That part.
This is the life that I'm going to enjoy. This is the season of enjoyment. This is the season of excellence for my life. And to do this in excellence means that I cannot give my time, energy, and effort to those who are not equally yoked. Those that are not equally able to do it. And it doesn't mean that you're not there from a achievement sense, but you're not there.
Yeah.
You're not here mentally. You're not in that space in your life that you're ready to risk it all. I've risked it all. Like, I sacrificed everything for what I have.
Wow.
And the old me would be so proud of the new me, because the old me would have never thought that I could do it on 1099s.
Wow.
That it was a W-2 employee or W-9 employee. Working for somebody's benefits, doing it every day, clocking in, clocking out. I used to wear suits every day. And I used to hate it every day, putting a tie on in a mirror. And I remember like they used to make it like a badge of honor, like, oh, you know, they're teaching you how to tie a tie. But it's just like, there are so many people that are out here doing multi-million-dollar deals in sweatsuits.
Oh my gosh. This needs to be a course.
For
I don't
real.
even know though if they would want to put this in public school or private school, whatever.
Right.
But that, because even with like when they say look professional, what the heck, when you really pull back the layers, what is looking professional though?
Eurocentric.
Ooh.
They can't put that one out there though.
Yeah.
Because let's not get it twisted. I will have to put on a suit for something. And I will wear the suit. However, it does not mean that you are less professional because you wearing a different attire to your place of work.
Exactly.
Like, my man's is not going to come and do beat production, music production in a suit, bro. Like that's not what we on in here.
Right.
Like, we got to I'm not going to show up and do director of photography work all day in a suit. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm showing up and being able to make tens of thousands of dollars doing a play because I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show up and be professional. I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure that everything gets handled that's on this piece of paper that we agreed to.
Yeah.
So as long as that contract gets fulfilled, I got 2 rules of business. Don't lie. Make sure your bag clears. Everything else is semantics.
Man.
Everything else is semantics. As long as you don't lie to me, and as long as you say that you're going to do something and you do it, we're good. And if you break rule number 2, you broke rule number 1 by proxy.
When you write a book, I'm going to buy it.
Come on.
Because this is really good.
Come on.
Let me see. We did that already. Okay, so moving on to work.
I like your cue cards. Your cue cards is tight.
Thank you.
Come on.
Now on to work and lifestyle. So many juicy stuff. What was the moment that inspired you to be who you are now?
The moment that inspired me to be who
specifically
I am.
Film.
Sure.
The directing, all that.
So I told you a little bit about me going up a mountain, right?
Yeah.
So in peak COVID, 2019, 2020, I was engaged. I was working at a full-time job at a college out here, and I was living in Riverside. And, you know, I thought that I had my life all figured out. And I remember one day, me and my ex were arguing about bacon. It was about bacon, bro. And
wait, like
literal bacon,
pork?
literal pork bacon.
Okay.
And it was at that moment that I knew that I needed to make a life change. And it was literally like, yeah, this is over. And I remember it clicking. It was like an instant wheel turn. It was over. I was everything that you could possibly think of, check out, I was mentally out. Like, I left that day.
Wait, I'm just curious. What was argument about bacon about?
It is the subject matter was just a continuation of all things that were like, we know that you're not supposed to be here, bro. Like,
oh, got it.
Just
so
like,
it was deeper.
So it was just like, it was a lot deeper than that, but it was just like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, you know? And it was just like, yeah, there's nothing that I need out of this situation anymore. So I had ended an engagement literally right then and there.
I totally forgot you said you were engaged. So
Yes.
Quick question for those people who are in a relationship at the moment and I think they know that they should be out of, they need to leave. But what gave you the strength?
It wasn't leave? Even, I don't even want to call it strength.
Oh.
I think everything that you need is already within you. There is nothing that you don't need additional strength. You don't need additional courage. You don't need additional wisdom, because you know in your head, you already have drawn out the map to success in your mind. You already have checked out in the way that you need to check out. If you haven't left, it's because you don't want to, or is it because you're trying to hold on to the idea that this will work out in your favor? But if you know and you truly don't want it, you're not going to be there. And I genuinely believe that. That might be a hot take. And if you watching this and you like, no, I'm going to throw hate on this man in the comments, just make sure you like and subscribe first.
Please.
Just make sure you like and subscribe first. But I think that everybody has their reasons for being in situations, and you can't question or justify anybody else's reasons. It's their reasons of their own. Like, we all have our things that we need to face in this life. So whenever you're ready to get out of those situations, get out of them, and get out of them knowing that you're doing your godly purpose. Yeah. You know, you were supposed to be in the situation that you were in because you were supposed to learn something. I'm not saying that because of that situation, you should have been in the situations of the dire straits that you were in. If you were hurting by this person, if you were engaged with this person and they did something to you that was changing you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like, those are situations that are not becoming of men or women or anybody in between. As you are a person that is responsible for the feelings of another person, you have to make sure that you take stewardship of the way that you show up for another person. Yeah. Like, period. You got to be a good person to people. So if you feel like you're in a situation where someone is not a good person to you, then that is your indicator right there.
Oh, my
That person is not a good person for you. And they might be a good person. Like, I have nothing.
But for you
part. For you particularly, they are not the person that's going to treat you with the love and respect that you need in order to live the life that you got to live out there. Like, something that me and India talk about regularly is that I got to go to war outside of these walls. I'm not going to be at home having war with the person that I lay
War
with.
Part 2.
You know, like, I'm not coming home to war and going out there and having to fight for my life.
Yeah.
So to know that peace is something that you have to earn in this life, to know that peace is something that you have to work towards almost voraciously. Like, you have to actively work towards peace in your life. And that means that you have to make decisions that are hard for your life. That means that you have to cut off people that you love for your life to have peace. And whether that peace is something that you exist on a lonely island at the end of it, or is it something that you're surrounded by a whole new group of people that love and cherish you for who you are, you have to accept that peace for what it is. And it's simply that. It is 100% that. That peace is something that you earned by making the sacrifices. So I climbed up this mountain and I asked God. I was with my god sister. I was with my sister. Her name is Alexandria. I was with her, and we sat there and we talked. And I remember asking God to strip anything away from me that was not supposed to be in my life.
That is such a scary ask, because when it starts happening, like kind of earlier to what we were saying, when you ask and things start showing up, it's not like, oh no, God, I didn't really mean that. It's like, no, that's what you asked for. And
for sure.
It is, yeah.
For sure. But you can't make a strong ask without being ready to return it tenfold. You cannot make that strong of an ask. Yeah. I was ready to have everything stripped from me. I was ready to have every opportunity that was not for me gone. Any job that was not for me gone. Any person that was not for me gone. And God took everything.
Wait, all at once or little by little?
It was literally everything within a 2-month time span.
Wow.
All gone. COVID hit, lost my job.
Wow.
Relationship was over. Had to leave the place that we were at in Riverside. It was over. Everything. So I had to move back in with my parents. I had the clothes that I moved in with in my car. and I move back in with my peoples.
How were you mentally were you excited or
Ego death.
Oh,
That was the low point. Like I remember, and I
okay.
have a picture in my phone about what I looked like at that point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at that picture every time that I feel like something is not going the way that I would like it to go, or like, bro, I wish that things were a little bit differently. I look at that picture and remember, I've already been at the lowest point that I've ever had to be at my life. And so to rise from the ashes of that, nothing can stop me anymore.
That part.
Nothing. I am impervious to people's BS. Nothing can stop me. I am all the way there. I am tapped in. I am fully submitted to the plan. When something doesn't work, all right, what's the pivot?
That.
Period. It doesn't have any consolation for me to think about what I could have done differently. There's no well, if I would have changed this, or if I would have did this, or if I would have had this conversation.
Yeah.
Nope. The plan is the plan.
What if someone said to you, I'll say a friend, here's you talking, and like, I guess, for example, you and the friend are going through something, and you're like, well, bro or homegirl, I guess, we're not gonna be friends anymore. And they interpret that as you not caring because you're not sounding like emotionally attached. Okay. Would you just be like, no, I have love for you, but I know where I'm going, so I have to kind of cut you off?
If I have to cut you off, you're gonna know. Like, you're gonna know off rip. Like, bro, we're not on the same trajectory anymore. Like, it just is what it is. And the hard part about that is really being able to rip the Band-Aid off. Like, and I think that sometimes people take it as a joke, like, I guess we're not gonna be friends anymore. I'll see you next week. Like, no, bro.
No, I said what I said.
I said what I said, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you are not moving in a direction that I want to move in. It's over. Like, our time as a season is over.
Yeah.
And I ain't got nothing but love for you, but I love you at a distance now.
Would you rather someone ghost you or tell you, like,
in whatever way they need to do it?
Oh.
It does not. I am not doubling back.
Okay.
I cannot spin the block. I cannot think about what was
I like that.
and try to. I can't. And it's just like, in the time that I was having to relearn myself and relearn that purpose, I learned that lesson in a very interesting way, that you cannot double back. You can't spin the block. You can't think about what if. All you have to do is accept that it was. Because there's parallel alternative universes where those things were, and that person is not who this is. So if you want to figure out what it was like if something else happened, then you better figure out time, space, travel, and start breaking some fourth walls, because it's not going to happen. There's no way. So whenever it's over, and just accept it for what it was. It was a beautiful thing while it was.
You remind me of like a Black Joel Osteen, because when you talk, you don't like.
Except I would open my church. I would open my church in Houston.
When you speak, you don't. It's just. Yep. And it's like, wow. Yep. Were your parents like preachers or anything?
No.
Wow.
My dad's an accountant.
Okay.
My mom was a social worker. And I just ain't scared. I'm not scared. If I was to die tomorrow, I would know that I lived my purpose today.
Wow.
So it's like, when I have that level of intuitiveness with my purpose, and I start really understanding what the world is around me, and start understanding that my presence and being my best self will change somebody's life. If somebody listens to this and it changes their life, bam.
Yeah.
I would not have been that if I did not give of myself 100%. So why I ain't got nothing to be scared of.
That, yeah.
I ain't got nothing to be scared of.
I'm trying to think, why would someone be scared? Because I feel like we're cut from the same cloth as, like, I know who I am. I know what I'm not, and it's like, I don't need to like try to be this thing that I'm not. But I'm probably thinking maybe like healing. Maybe they haven't healed from something, and maybe they're still kind of,
So again, it's not the fear that we are inadequate. It's the fear that we are powerful beyond measure. And it's not our darkness, but our light that most frightens us. That's exactly what it is. So you have to change that one in the cut. It's definitely, it's our light that frightens us the most. If I was to shine at my brightest in front of all these people, someone's going to have something to say. Someone's going to throw a little shade towards my light. Someone's going to, it's the comment section. It's the,
Don't look at it. Just keep shining.
No, I disagree. Look at it.
Look at it?
Look at it. Look at the comment section.
But what if it mentally starts to like play on their mind?
You scared.
Oh.
You're scared. You're scared of what people think. If you put out 100% of yourself and someone says, well, I don't agree. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that was I don't think that you made a good piece. I don't think that the cinematography on this was great. Okay.
Yeah. To you.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That is your opinion and you're entitled to it. I am not going to quell who I am so that others might shine. I'm not hiding my light. What is it? Hide it under a bush? No, I'm finna let it shine.
Yeah.
Every time. And it's just like, I can't worry about if somebody else thinks that they should have the opportunities that I have. I can't help that somebody thinks that what I did wasn't of the standard or quality that someone might be able to say, well, that's a great piece. You know, there are thousands of films that are getting made daily. There are thousands of opportunities that are getting given to people daily. I'm here to get mine. I'm not worried about what other people got going on. So if you hating, you losing. If you doing something that's outside of worrying about yourself and worrying about your community, you keeping it honest with yourself, you saying all the things that you're supposed to be doing with yourself, then all the other stuff doesn't matter.
That part.
And it's like, I listen to a lot of Kanye. I listen to a lot of Larry June. I listen to a
Larry June.
Shout out Larry, bro. Shout out Larry, bro. Because it's
like, my gosh.
Invest in yourself, bro.
That.
It's like, you tripping off what? You tripping off people? Opinions? I'm not worried about nobody's opinion.
Yeah.
It's just like, yo, that's what you here for. You here to have haters. Like, you here to have people that don't support, just like you here to encourage the ones that do. And that next generation that comes up under you, they got to watch your back.
Yeah.
When they're watching your back as you're proceeding to walk towards your purpose, it might inspire somebody else to walk towards theirs.
True.
So if I was so worried about what other people had going on and trying to be afraid of what the comment section said, now I'm finna read this comment section. I'm glad that you said that, bro. I can't wait to show you what I do next. I can't wait.
And what do I hear in this abundant mindset when you said about, thousands of films being made daily, opportunities out there? It's just
it's money out there, especially for people that look like us. It's money out there. And it's like, why wait?
Yeah.
Why wait for somebody to green light you? Why wait for somebody to say that you're ready? You're ready already.
Yeah.
You're God's child. That's already ready.
It. You're ready already.
You are already ready. Now, your dream might be aligned with other people's dreams, and it might start you at a position that might not be the one that you want to end at. But if it puts you in a door to be successful, if it puts you in the room with individuals so that you can live your best life, no one can tell you, oh, it's not your time. Oh, you're doing too much. Like, no one should be able to tell you that your time is not now.
You know who I think that sometimes could affect people who have mentors and they're very close to their mentors and they kind of like idolize their mentors, where it's like, if he or she said this, then that must be like scripture.
Right. And it's like, we are obeying false idols. We are obeying celebrities. We're obeying these people that have achieved things at the level, and they're thinking in the same ways that we're having this conversation right now. The conversation we're having right now is about investing in yourself. The conversation we're having about making sure your bag clears. Don't lie. Be honest about what you want. If you can speak your intentions clearly into the universe is going to give it back. If you can talk to God and be like, God, I want this. And then God be like, here it is. And you'd be like, I'm not ready for that. Then you didn't want it. You weren't ready for that. So do what you're ready for. Like, take it one step at a time. Be bold in your blessing. Like, and if you are truly ready to receive it, then you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
If life seems empty and useless without whatever you're trying to accomplish, if you're sweating for it, you're fretting for it, you're planning for it, you're losing all of the possible fears that come with this, then you're ready to receive your blessing. If you're worried about a comment section, you're not ready. You're not ready.
All right. On to the next. What has been... actually, I want to say this. When did you begin your relationship with God?
The relationship with God has always been a tricky one, because it was tricky for me all the way up until I hit that mountain. Oh. It was on and off. It was... Sometimes I'm trying to figure it out. Sometimes I'm trying to go to a church and try to hear it from a pastor. Sometimes I'm like, and I'm not anti-religion. I'm not anti, I identify as a Christian. I identify that way, but I am not a churchgoer because I believe that my personal relationship with God is something that I have to be in control of. I have to figure out my own path. I have to understand God's word through my own ability to communicate and commune with God.
Likewise.
Like, I'm not somebody that's going to pull up and listen to it. Could be, and you know what? It's something that always bothered me was the fact that someone could make a what type of church did you go to?
I don't remember the name of it, but it was a black church.
So it was heavily Baptist, like, you know, the Southern Baptist,
like
where people
the
like
choir,
because God, like, you know, like
Yeah.
people could talk, like you can make a impersonation of a pastor.
Yes.
Like I can jokingly make an impersonation of a pastor, and that always used to bother me.
Why?
Because you can jokingly tell somebody how somebody is telling other people how to communicate with God. Like you're using this persona, like it is a persona. Like people preach from the Bible, or they'll take their own personal interpretation of what the word is, and they'll talk to it from a congregation. And some people do it very well. Some people don't do it very well. But ultimately, I could say, do a Baptist preacher impersonation, and you could probably do one. Do a preacher impersonation. What was your church like? Because God has given me. Yeah. Like someone could do that, and it's just like the fact that somebody can impersonate what a preacher is supposed to do. A preacher is supposed to lead the flock. They're the shepherd. Like, you are the leader in this place, and people can make a joking interpretation of the way that people deliver the word, and you can go on YouTube and find 10, 15 people that all do the exact same thing, versus having your own personal interpretation or relationship with God. And I was like, I don't mean to sound like somebody that's anti-church, because I believe that if you find that connection in the church, I love that for you. That's fantastic. Yeah. I also think that there's a level of free thinking that God has given us that is supposed to be exercised on your own. Yeah. You are supposed to step out of that church and go figure out God's word on your own. And I believe that you're supposed to graduate from church.
Wow. I've never heard that before.
I believe that you're supposed to graduate from church, because you're supposed to go walk with God, and whatever that way is supposed to go, you're supposed to go out and reach one and teach one how to be a better Christian, how to be a better faith believer, how to do all of those things. And again, I'm not religious. I just understand that spiritual purpose means that connectivity through others is the way to salvation. I will be the best me that I can be when I can find people of like-minded belief, connect with them, and give them opportunities. Prove me wrong. And my God doesn't believe that in one place his presence is felt. Right. It's not on Sunday. It's not on Sunday at 9 a.m. We're going to get this word off, and then we're going to go back into our Marys. Like, we're going to talk about God 24/7. Yeah. And we're going to find the people that don't think it's weird that you want to talk about God right now. Like, you're like, oh, bro, I want to be around the people that want to talk about God. Yeah. Those are God's people that I want to march with, and those opportunities are going to be right there too. So all of this is just semantics. Again, it's all semantics, but I don't like the fact that you can make a mockery of somebody's word or the delivery of the word when the word is not something to play with.
BP, you came to preach today.
I didn't even that's not why I'm here.
No, but it's not why you're here, but it's flowing out of you. And I'm just gonna say this is the perfect place to let it flow, because these kind of conversations is what I live for.
Great. I love that.